But yeah. All right, let's get into the President of the United States. So the President of the United States, trying to once again evade his Twitter ban, decided to post some cringe on the White House account that has currently not been taken down. And so this is a 5-minute video. I'm going to try to get through it. Like the whole way. Basically, this video, he throws all of his supporters under the bus for the 15th time. And, it's just impressive. Let's watch.
My fellow Americans, I want to speak to you tonight about the troubling events of the past week. As I have said, the incursion of the U.S. Capitol struck at the very heart of our republic. It angered and appalled millions of Americans across the political spectrum. I want to be very clear. I unequivocally condemn the violence that we saw last week.
So, again, Donald Trump spent 3 months promoting the big lie that the election was stolen. That culminated in him telling everyone for those 3 months, January 6th, January 6th, January 6th. He tweeted about it dozens, if not over 100 times. January 6th, January 6th. He also promoted the big lie that Mike Pence could single-handedly overturn the election results if he so chose. By the way, coincidentally, Nico House agrees with that. Interesting. So I just want you to understand, he incited this riot not only in his words in the speech on the morning of, but over the last 3 months of telling people that something that's not possible is possible, and that there's a time and place you need to be in order to make that impossibility possible. So the people that stormed the Capitol, they all said, Trump told me to. So I want to make it very clear, you can't incite a riot that ends up with killing 6 people and get away with that scot-free, but he's going to try.
Violence and vandalism have absolutely no place in our country and no place in our movement. Making America great again has always been about defending the rule of law.
I want to also say this. To my understanding, there have been reports that a lot of the MAGA people are standing down, unlike he requested they do at the first presidential debate. It seems that they're standing down and they're starting to think that that if the president doesn't have their back, and I'll go into this later maybe, but I've got some interesting info here. I'll go into that later though. So I think these videos that he's making are having a net positive right now. But again, of course, that doesn't undo the damage that he did.
Supporting the men and women of law enforcement and uphold.
If he wasn't involved, why did he not let the National Guard come in? $5, Karen Sheets. Thank you, by the way. That's a good question. To my understanding, and I haven't researched this as much as I should, to my understanding, the National Guard situation was the Defense Department, so they claim, was afraid of letting Donald Trump command the National Guard because they didn't know if Donald Trump would command them to break the law. And therefore they were slow on that, I think, is the argument that they're using. But I don't know if I buy it.
Holding our nation's most sacred traditions and values. Mob violence goes against everything I believe in and everything our movement stands for. No true supporter of mine could ever endorse political violence. No true supporter of mine could ever disrespect law enforcement or our great American flag.
Reminder, they tore down the U.S. flag at the Capitol and replaced it with a Trump 2020 flag. Reminder, the Blue Lives Matter crew killed a cop, beat him to death on camera with a fire extinguisher. Reminder, no true supporter, right? This guy is throwing all of his most fervent supporters under the motherfucking bus. And again, if he went down to 70% approval rating from 96, right? That's still a hell of a lot of support. And this kind of stuff definitely redeems him in the eyes of the 70%. The 70% that still support him in the Republican Party are like, oh, he's so mature. Look how he's condemning the violence. Right? So he's going to be a formidable force whether or not he gets banned from the presidency via the Senate. Whether or not that happens, he's going to be a formidable force. He is positioning himself right now. He wants to retain the title of kingmaker within the Republican Party. And it seems that the Republican Party is going to become the cult of Trump party. It already has over the last 4 years, but I don't see that reversing course. I do think that the civility losers in the Republican Party are going to lose out to the cult of Trump party. Again, only 10 Republicans in the House went against party lines to impeach the president. Only 10. That leaves 197 Republicans, I think, that are full-on Trump cultists. Trump can do no wrong. Trump can be single-handedly responsible for murdering police officers and will let him get away with it in the minds of the cult of Trump party.
No true supporter of mine could ever threaten or harass their fellow Americans. If you do any of these things, you are not supporting our movement. You are attacking it, and you are attacking our country. We cannot tolerate it. Tragically, over the course of the past year, made so difficult because of COVID-19, we have seen political violence spiral out of control.
Notice how he says COVID-19 for once. Right? This guy knows that he doesn't want to go to jail. Right? Instead of calling it the plague from China, he's calling it COVID-19. Interesting, right?
So difficult because of COVID-19. We have seen political violence spiral out of control. We have seen too many riots, too many mobs, too many acts of intimidation and destruction. It must stop. Whether you are on the right or on the left, a Democrat or a Republican, there is never a justification.
I just want to say, like, I know he's lying. You know he's lying, right? But this is still bizarre to watch, right? Like, after the last 4 years, like, watching Trump, his back against the wall, defeated, I forget who said this. I think it was Mondaire Jones at the impeachment debate. As Mondaire Jones said, a defeated and disgraced president. And again, his back is against the wall, and he's capitulating like a beta male, throwing all of his most fervent supporters under the bus, just so he doesn't go to jail. This is like, it's, and you have to understand, he's doing this because he wants to, like, his ideology is not changing. He's going to try, again, to rehabilitate himself. There are going to be people that let him. He's trying to rehabilitate himself because he wants to do the same thing that he did on January 6th, but without getting the blame. That's his next step, and you have to understand that, right? This guy's 78 years old or whatever the fuck he is, right? He's not changing his opinion anytime soon. Certainly not overnight. Certainly not overnight and when pressed with a lawsuit, right? But it is very satisfying to look at this guy try to weasel himself out of it. Like, again, his back is against the wall. He's got nothing else, so he has to capitulate.
For violence. No excuses, no exceptions. America is a nation of laws. Those who engaged in the attacks last week will be brought to justice. Now I am asking everyone who has ever believed in our agenda to be thinking of ways to ease tensions, calm tempers, and help to promote peace in our country. There has been reporting that additional demonstrations are being planned in the coming days, both here in Washington and across the country. I have been briefed by the U.S. Secret Service on the potential threats. Every American deserves to have their voice heard in a respectful and peaceful way. That is your First Amendment right. But I cannot emphasize that there must be no violence, no law breaking, and no vandalism of any kind.
So again, it's important. He's calling out again, Trumpers have been planning over the last week to attack all 50 state capitals. That's what they've been planning. And now again, I'm going to get into this next, but there's also been reporting on these social media networks that they use that they're backing down and they're afraid because they think it's a setup. Which, hey, if Trump is willing to sell everyone out to save his own ass, hey, maybe it is a setup.
Everyone must follow our laws and obey the instructions of law enforcement. I have directed federal agencies to use all necessary resources to maintain order. In Washington, D.C., we are bringing in thousands of National Guard members to secure the city and ensure that a transition can occur safely and without incident. Like all of you, I was shocked and deeply saddened by the calamity. At the Capitol.
Reminder, he was literally on video, excited and gleeful in praising their actions, but now it's calamity.
Saddened by the calamity at the Capitol last week.
Calamity.
I want to thank the
Capitol.
hundreds of millions of incredible
That sounds like a fucking rap album.
American citizens who have responded to this moment with calm, moderation, and grace.
Grace.
We will get through this challenge just like we always do. I also want to say a few words about the unprecedented assault on free speech we have seen in recent days.
Here we go.
These are tense and difficult times. The efforts to censor, cancel, and blacklist our fellow citizens are
You know what? Given the recent events, I kind of agree. I'm just kidding.
wrong, and they are dangerous. What is needed now is for us to listen to one another, not to silence one another. All of us can choose by our actions to rise above the rancor and find common ground and shared purpose.
I mean, I agree.
We must focus on advancing the interests of the whole nation, delivering the miracle vaccines, defeating the pandemic, rebuilding the economy, protecting our national security, and upholding the rule of law. Today I am calling on all Americans to overcome the passions of the moment and join together as one American people. Let us choose to move forward united for the good of our families, our communities, and our country. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Get back in the business of creating a more peaceful world. Please clap.
Well, there you go. Donald Trump beta bitch edition. As Don says, from what I read, this strategy it was basically written for him. The statement was written for him and was a condition to keep the number of House Republicans from voting for impeachment down. Yes, absolutely. Again, he's trying to absolve himself, and everyone's going to see, we're going to see if it works. I don't think it will, though. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene, who says she's going to file impeachment filings on day one of Biden's presidency. That's interesting, right? So this is going to be very, very, very interesting to follow. Fun Police, $4.99. Good morning, Andrea, Maxie, and the crew. Thank you. Good, and then also morning. Appreciate you. And thank you for the money. I don't know why you keep giving me money. This is, this has to stop. There's just the sheer nature of funding this operation just is unbelievable to me. But thank you nonetheless.